Saol Nua, Part 3, Long-Term Policy. People come first. The welfare and well-being of all, meeting the real needs of human nature, not merely satisfying the wants created by the consumer society. It is a fundamental conviction of Sinn Féin Poblachtach that people come first, that all social and economic policy should serve the interest of people. We know that in Ireland today, vast fortunes are made and enjoyed by a small, select class of people, mainly from the ranks of politicians, with their numerous expenses, pensions, etc., financiers, business people, property developers, and media gurus. This state class is part of an international set which directs, operates, or facilitates capital, both Irish and transnational. Their interests prevail over those of the ordinary people. Meanwhile, family farms are being eliminated and the rural economy is collapsing. There is a lot of real poverty, inadequate health and education services, and increasing unemployment as foreign capitalists pull out of Ireland. This, in turn, produces grave social problems and personal misery for thousands of individuals and families. Immigration and safety valve, immigration, the safety valve, which let politicians off the hook for generations, could well return. To work is a natural thing for people. Every person is entitled to an opportunity to use his or her talent in meaningful, satisfying, and productive work. A lot of lip service is paid to the importance of our human resources, but quick fix solutions based on a sellout of national sovereignty, natural resources, and national identity is a poor substitute for developing our own resources according to the needs of our own people. It is surely not beyond the ingenuity of people to organize society in a way which provides for the welfare and well-being of all. Provision of work opportunities should be a primary objective of any radical program, and radical steps are necessary. One fundamental of such a program is that there should be a discernible shift of emphasis. We need to develop a lifestyle which puts material things in their proper place, which is secondary, not primary. Such a lifestyle would give first place to the real needs of human nature and would be compatible with the living nature around us and with the finite resources of the earth. The haves may well be a greater problem than the have-nots, because in the lifestyle of the acquisitive consumer society, they move from one material fix to the next, the second automobile, the second holiday, the yacht, the villa in Spain, etc. Meanwhile, those who have nothing to sell but their labor are in the weakest position of all, marginalized to the fringes of society, with many of them condemned to long-term unemployment. The escalating crime rate is one of the inevitable social problems which result from this national scandal. Those who operate this system have devised measures of economic success, which are quantitative rather than qualitative. This explains how Ireland had for many years economic growth and rising unemployment at the same time. It is refreshing to note that the UN Development Programme report for 1990 concluded that, quote, the link between economic growth and human progress is not automatic, end quote. The economic growth of recent years has been based on production and consumption, the consumer society, and has been achieved at the expense of many positive values. In financial terms, it has enriched the elite and left the majority relatively worse off. Selfishness and individualism are replacing the old Irish traditions of neighborliness and social responsibility. In this regard, two quotations from commentators are sufficient. Quote, ours is a time of patent locks, burglar alarms, barbed wire fences, neighborhood watch, and vigilantes. End quote. Zygmunt Banman. in Globalization, The Human Consequences, 1998. Quote, a regime which provides human beings no deep reasons to care about one another cannot long preserve its legitimacy. End quote. Richard Sennett in The Corrosion of Character, The Personal Consequences of Work in the New Capitalism, 1998. In Ira Nua, we commented that those who operate the partition system of government in Ireland are hardly likely to change it, and that they have now become themselves part of the problem. We can now add that in the social and economic spheres, those who pursue careers and survival in politics, finance, administration, and business are prisoners of each of the power structure of today and are most unlikely to have the courage to face the reality that the system they operate is a failure. Only Sinn Féin, Poblachtach, which has consistently advocated a radical approach, and other citizens of independent minds are free to propose and promote an alternative. Much of the criticism which we have leveled at the capitalist system applies to other countries also, but we in Ireland, because of our long experience of capitalist colonialism, have suffered in a particularly acute way. Further fixes, by way of giving more power to the EU technocrats, will bring a change from dependency on London to dependency on Brussels, and will not solve our problem. Indeed, it will accelerate the very forces which have brought us to the wretched conditions in which we are today. A new radical approach is needed, based on a different set of values and criteria. We are not unaware that there is grave disquiet in other countries also, both developed and developing, arising especially from the terrible waste of resources, pollution of the atmosphere, chemical farming, and the dehumanizing results of high technology. Many people are coming to realize that the survival of the human race and the planet itself is being put in jeopardy. The Constitution of Sinn Féin, Poblachtach, declares that we seek to create a federal democratic socialist republic in Ireland. The democratic structures outlined in Ira Nua would be supplemented by a social and economic system which would seek to make it possible for every citizen to own an economic unit of production. It is only in small, distinct, and comprehensible groups that people can be themselves and achieve self-esteem, dignity, and fulfillment. The Irish Cumar na Cumharsan is an example of the kind of local or community development in which each worker owns a unit of production. The essential elements. Each district, region, and province as self-sufficient as possible. Sinn Féin, Poblachtach, considers that the following are essential